lectionary series, we've looked at creation and the Great Flood. Today is the last story in what is considered the prehistory chapters of the scriptures, the Babel story. All cultures seek to answer the basic questions of life. How did we get here? Why do bad things happen? What is our purpose? What happens when we die? These prehistory stories attempt to answer some of the questions within the first two questions. How did we get here, and why do bad things happen? And even as people try to answer the questions, the answers seem only to create more questions. The important realization in the creation story was that it was God who created us. The important realization in the Great Flood story was that God made a covenant to never destroy the earth again by floodwaters. And the sign was put in the clouds to remind us, as well as to remind God of that promise. The Babel story tries to explain how people migrated across the earth and how we began speaking different languages. And God did that too. The story of Babel is a relatively short story, and it isn't really connected to the other prehistory stories. In fact, it doesn't even match up with the lines of descent of the three sons of Noah that is just previous to this. In Genesis 10, the generations are named, and it is explained there that these generations spread out, giving rise to clans, nations, languages, and even livelihoods. It's also noted, I found very interesting, that in this line of Ham, the first Nimrod in history is noted. So if these generations are noted and society spread out and languages developed, why is the story of Babel even in the Bible? Well, we have no idea. It's going to be a short sermon. But let's find out what we might learn from it, because it is a cautionary tale. This story begins by telling us that the people on earth were actually unified. They had the same language and the same words. There was no talk in the story of divisions. In fact, the whole focus of the people is to come together in one place, to not be scattered. So they settle in the valley of a land called Shinar, the early biblical name of Babylonia. And that's on your trading cards in your bulletin. When they settle in Shinar, their instinct is to build a great city in which they may all dwell. They made bricks and used bitumen to build the city, and we experienced the black goo of bitumen in the asphalt that we put on the road. So this was an arduous task, building this city. They built the city and a great tower with its top in the sky. And while they wanted to be in one place, the city with its tower would also give them something to brag about, to make a name for ourselves, the story says. The tower, which was said to touch the top of the sky or the heavens, was probably a whopping 7 stories high, but even so, a feat for that time. The Lord came down that the people built the tower to reach God. There was no mention of corruption. There's no explanation of why God got so upset. There are, however, a few hints in the text and the culture of the time that the story was written. One possibility is the sin of self-aggrandizement. Their beautiful city would give them bragging rights. The tower represents humanity's tendency to reach too high without understanding the consequences. Adam desired knowledge so much that he disobeyed God and ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge. When he did so, he became mortal and was thrown out of Eden. The generation of the great flood was so focused on itself, its importance, its desires, that the result was utter destruction. This generation in Babel was again so focused on themselves that their pretentious enterprise collapsed on itself. The weakness in this interpretation is that the story itself only mentions the proudness of the people one time in passing. But then again, it's a short story. Another possibility is that the people of the city of Babel were showing rebelliousness by refusing to go out and fill up the earth. After the great flood, God had told the generations of Noah to be fertile, to increase, to abound on the earth and increase on it. The building of the city of Babel was seen as rebelling against this command. Gathering together in one place, this big city, was not going to cause them to go out and populate the earth. In this interpretation, it isn't ambition, but anxiety that grips the people. Humanity is afraid, and so they come together to protect themselves instead of relying on God's protection and blessing. Typically, when people are living in closer quarters, they have fewer children, which God did not want. By building the city, the people weren't going out to make nations, which God did want. The weakness in this interpretation is that people in general at that time were ignorant about the one God. Only a few, Adam, Eve, and Noah, had actually spoken to God and recognized God's divinity as the creator and sustainer of life. The rest of the people thought that there were many gods sustaining them and creating their world. So it's kind of hard to blame them for something they didn't understand and would not understand until the time of Abraham. A third interpretation focuses on the idea of the city. In fact, it is the city that is referred to most in the story, not the tower. This idea lifts up the corruption of urbanization. The city is the ultimate expression of humanity's presumption. Babel was a big city, and to the anti-urban tradition of the Bible, its downfall appeared as to proper divine judgment. The city symbolized empire building, corruption, arrogance, the desire to erect monuments for ourselves, and turning away from the godly occupations like agriculture and tending sheep. inside the city, they grew further away from the earth and God's creatures. We remember in the Noah story that God's creatures were just as important to him as humanity. The weakness in this interpretation is the sweeping generalization of city folk.